What's going on? We back, Goodfellas Sports TV. Y'all know what the business is. One time for the one time. We're going to continue to grind. Hold it down. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely appreciate everybody for checking us out on those platforms as well. You can check out our podcast. Going to have some NBA uploads coming really, really soon. And hopefully sometime this week we can get our 3 NBA preview live shows in. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, so you get those notifications to know when we go live, all right, about NBA talk. But yeah, man, apparently it's a couple of news we're going to talk about. Apparently Jimmy Butler, okay, went off at Timberwolves practice today. It was the first time he practiced with the Timberwolves this offseason, and and it didn't go well. It didn't go well at all. We're going to talk about what the report says, and I'm going to link the report in the description. One time for the one time, all right? And also, the Rockets put an offer in for Jimmy Butler, and you won't believe the one guy they won't part ways with for Jimmy Butler, okay? Apparently, this is Adrian Wojnarowski, NBA insider, ESPN insider, okay? He said Butler spent practice verbally challenging teammates, coaches in the front office, and at times targeted head coach Tom Thibodeau and general manager Scott Layden and teammates Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Sources told Wojnarowski that Butler yelled in Layden's direction and "You effing need me." You effing need me. You can't win without me. Darth Aman reported on the ESPN Jumps that Miami Heat, I guess he's a Heat insider, that Butler played with the third string players on the Timberwolves and beat the starters and starters in scrimmage. It was bad. One Timberwolves staff member told the Real GM's Keith Smith, "Guys come in angry, having bad days all the time, but this was as bad as I've ever seen a practice in years in the NBA." The Athletics Shams, whatever this dude's name, reported Tuesday that Butler returned to Minnesota to reiterate his trade stance during a meeting with Thibodeau. We talked about, we did some videos talking about that, how he, returned to do for the physical. I guess they wanted to check up physical, and he met with Thibodeau, said he still wanted to be traded. Then they had a trade in place. We can frustrate Jimmy Butler. The trade in place was a bunch of players. It was Josh Richardson and another guy, I can't remember, Goran Dragic or whatever. It was the original trade with Josh Richardson and another player in the first round pick that was protected. And then at the last minute, the Wolves wanted Josh Richardson, Goran Dragic, Kelly Olynyk, I think Justin Winslow, and then, a protected first round pick. So they tried to add like 2 or 3 more players to the deal. Minnesota did, and then the Timberwolves pulled out of the deal. It seems like Jimmy Butler is really, really immature, in my opinion. You signed a contract, you got traded to Minnesota, you have a job to do. You don't have to come in there and really let these dudes know how unhappy you are. But at the same time, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get yourself out of a situation, out of condone that activity. He's supposed to be setting the platinum standard to show the young guys how to conduct themselves and be pros. And I can see why Andrew Wiggins and Karl Anthony Towns haven't progressed with an OG in the locker room like that, with a veteran like Jimmy Butler in the locker room like that. If I'm a team that traded for Jimmy Butler, and what if it don't work out? What if Jimmy don't get the points he want to get? What if we don't win? We hit turbulence and Jimmy Butler going to get frustrated. I'm going to commit $190 million to Jimmy Butler, and he might just flip out on me like that? Absolutely not. I'm kind of scared to commit to Jimmy Butler. I'm scared to trade assets for Jimmy Butler, bro. Okay, a guy that wants a max deal, well, I don't really think he's a max player, okay? I think he's a top 20 player. I don't think he's a max 190 super max player, because in the trade, Miami Heat would acquire Butler's Birds rights, and he can get a super max deal with the Miami Heat, okay? And I just look at the situation as very immature, very unprofessional. And I think that throws dirt on his legacy, dirt on his name. And if I was a team that was willing to trade for Jimmy Butler, I don't think I would give a whole lot, man, to go in and get Jimmy Butler, not knowing if he going to commit to me, not knowing if I want to commit money to him, not knowing if he going to come and do his job. If something that he don't like, he going to quit on the team. I don't like his attitude. I mean, He ain't that good for me to sign him a super max deal and him be a diva like that, bro. He not that good, and I take that back, man. If I was the Lakers, wouldn't trade for this dude. And you see why Karl Anthony and Andrew Wiggins haven't progressed in their careers with a chump like that as your OG in the locker room, as your veteran leader, man. And also, the Houston Rockets made a trade for Jimmy Butler, and it was Eric Gordon and PJ Tucker. Okay, that's the rumored trade offer. I'll drop that link in the description as well. And the Rockets didn't want to cut bait with PJ Tucker, bro. I mean, and part of the reason why they don't want to cut bait with PJ Tucker is because they don't know if they're going to be able to sign Jimmy Butler next year or sign him. You know, obviously, I think they would acquire his bird rights, but they were going to the luxury tax. And I'm not sure if any owner is willing to go that deep into the luxury tax with a supermax deal. And I wouldn't count on this guy taking the pay cut. So this would be a 1-year rental. They won't want to lose PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is the ultimate glue guy. For me, I would definitely talk to PJ Tucker. I'm not worried about PJ Tucker. He's a good glue guy. But in my opinion, bro, I got an opportunity to get Jimmy Butler. If I'm really trying to go for the gusto this year, I'm gonna go for it. And then if Jimmy Butler fit in well, and I just try to sign and trade him somewhere else, bro. That would be the deal, man. Or I would try to get Chris Paul out of there, because Chris Paul is Mr. Unreliable, bro. I think this year he might get injured again. So I understand. PJ Tucker is probably a locker room guy, locker room leader, real bond, real good guy. But would you rather have Jimmy Butler or would you rather have PJ Tucker? But you would think Eric Gordon is one of them guys they didn't want to trade. You know what I'm saying? And but I understand. Just stay pat and do what you do. And I ain't mad at him, man. Also, the Clippers have been interested in Jimmy Butler. Miami still interested in him. Brooklyn said they wouldn't trade on assets for him when they felt like they can get him as a free agent in the offseason. So, of course, you would think that they would demand more from the Rockets, to demand more from the team. But after this tirade at practice and after Jimmy Butler's attitude and what the money he would command on the market, well, really Minnesota is is hurting themselves, because Jimmy Butler is destroying his trade value every day. Jimmy Butler is destroying their trade value every day. I got to say that. And with this tirade at practice, man, I as an owner, I would be scared, man. And Jimmy Butler doesn't have a great track record of being a great teammate, bro. Okay? He don't have a track record, man. And now with the Knicks not being able to get Kyrie saying he's going to commit to the Boston Celtics and re-sign there. I mean, maybe the Knicks go for it, bro. They can get Jimmy Butler, and they can put him with Kevin Durant next year. Ticket TV was saying that was a report that came out from Warriors reported that, Durant probably not going to come back to the Knicks. I mean, back to the Warriors, and could go to the Knicks or could go to the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James. So, it is what it is, man. I mean, if they chose to keep Jimmy Butler, that probably would mean that Capella or Chris Paul would be moved. For me, for me, if I'm Houston and hypothetically we traded for Jimmy Butler, and I say, okay, we're gonna keep Jimmy Butler. He the future. He younger than Chris Paul. Chris Paul got injured again. I would hypothetically try to move Chris Paul to the Los Angeles Lakers. If the Lakers didn't acquire Anthony Davis and still had assets, I would try to get Lonzo. I would try to get, maybe a Mo Wagner, or maybe the JaVale McGee to kind of, or something like that, something of that nature. One of them young guys. Maybe a Josh Hart and Alonzo Ball in a draft pick. And that's contingent on they don't get Anthony Davis, or they don't swing, a trade for Kawhi Leonard still, or something else. And, Chris Paul loves playing with LeBron. But that's contingent on if Chris Paul doesn't perform again, get injured again next year, and I can swing him and LeBron can retire together pretty much, or, ride out together in LA. And, it is what it is, man. But Jimmy Butler is really hurting his trade stock, his market value, hurting his reputation. But, do what you got to do to get out your situation. And I guess, he can rebuild his reputation in the NBA a little bit later on. Like I said, I'm going to put those articles in the description. Shout out to the LDBC Lions Den basketball community, man. Check them out on Facebook, Instagram, man. It's basketball season, man. We're going to be doing a lot of basketball talk, a lot of preview shows. Goodfella Sports TV. Don't forget, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you would like to make a donation, the PayPal link is in the description. Or you can do me one better. Share these videos, retweet them out, screen record them. You know what I'm saying? Put them in your basketball groups, your Facebook league groups. Share them with your peers, and let's help grow the brand. I thank you. Appreciate everybody for helping us reach over 8,000 subs. And never paid for a sub, man. All hard work, dedication. But y'all know what it is. One time for the one time. We gone.